Well, the biggest difference when it comes to quality planning is really knowing the young person and knowing what they want. Because if a young person isn't invested in their plan and what they want to do with their lives, then why would they put any effort into following through with the work that's involved?
You're right, and I also think it needs to be realistic and achievable. You also need to know genuinely that young person.
And I think as caseworkers, sometimes we don't always put the child at the centre or the young person at the centre of their plan. It's about listening to their voice and to those around them as well, by often engaging as many of their family members, the people who are important in their lives.
We talk about customising the plans for the young person to make sure that it really does fit with their context. A young person may well have a very different view to that of their caseworker, especially when it comes to conversations about education or their health or even where they want to live. And so it's really, really important to hear from them what they want. Otherwise, we're making plans that are just not worth the paper they're written on.
And I've had some young people like that, like want to be the ICU nurse, but haven't attended school for a couple of years. And, you know, we try with, let's do a first aid course. You know, let's start, like, still so they're following their dream, but it's in measurable, achievable results, because the biggest thing is too, we don't want them to start on a path that, you know, they're going to fail at the first step.
For a lot of young people, they might have lower expectations around what they can achieve. So I would see our role as really being those people that bring some hope and maybe some ideas around what is going to trigger off those young people's interest in developing parts of their life so that they're more able to look after themselves, but also to achieve in life and have the same senses of enjoyment as everybody else.
And I think what makes good quality planning as well is the caseworker actually knowing exactly what's out there. So the caseworker needs to know what resources are out there before they start that planning process, because that's where then you can give young people choice around what they might like to achieve. I think one of the biggest challenges and one of the biggest game changers, certainly for young people who would like to be more independent, is housing. So getting them, you know, affordable, available housing. One of the ways to overcome that, of course, is to get to know your local housing people, get to know your those that work with the youth accords and all of those things, and really advocate for them to get whatever it is that they want, whether that, you know, be shared, whether that be individual, whatever it is that young person would like.
It varies very much from suburb to suburb. Get to know your housing person of contact, and build that relationships.
And of course there are a number of housing providers. It's not just housing, is it? There's quite a number of providers who are out there who really will prioritise our young people because of their vulnerabilities.
I think if I reflected back onto when I was 18 and leaving and moved out into my own home, that was really hard work, and I made a lot of mistakes in that time. A lot of mistakes around money. A lot of mistakes around probably looking after myself and keeping myself healthy because I was really trying to find my way in the world. I was lucky though that I had some people around me who were role models that would help me and that would bail me out of certain situations where things could have been, I could have felt very lost and alone if I didn't have those people to help me. So yes, it's really important to have that stability, that idea of having like a base, a place to call home. But in doing that, there are certain skills in life that you need to be able to maintain that.
I had a 20-year-old girl who rang me the other day, and left care 2 years ago, and she lost all her furniture to the man she was with from a domestic violence, and she just had to walk out of it. So I've rewritten the financial plan so she could access it again. And she's saying, I made a mistake. And I said, we all learn from mistakes. We all made mistakes, but you can start again. This money has been put back into your financial plan. When you get a place, it's there ready for you. So it's acknowledging they will make mistakes. We all do.
We have young people coming back when they're 19, 20, up to 25, sometimes even older than that. But it doesn't matter whether they've got a plan or not. Like, help them, whatever that is, help them. Don't send them away. Help them.
I find too, if you get one achievable for a young person, if they've said something specific, I want to get my driver's licence, and you actually get the funding for that and get that through, then they'll trust you. It's often you just got to get one achievable that then they will engage with you, because that's the whole crux of a successful leaving care financial plan and case plan, is that they have engaged with us and listened and put their view forward and achieved their dreams. Talking about financials for leaving care plan, I am putting in as much as possible, backing it up in the case plan. The case plan has to have the information to back why you are asking for what you owe in the financial plan. But I also try to look at any debts, any fines, any loans they've got with banks. And we try and get fines waived. We use work development orders while they're still in care up until 18. Work development orders are they have dollars taken off their fine total if they connect with their caseworker. But by the time they're 18, if they've got financial debts, they cannot survive financially on Centrelink if they're paying back debts. So we try and get those waived. And a young man the other day had $11,000 wiped off travel fines.
Caseworkers need to really think about their individual needs. So they will need different things. And I'll give you an example. So we've got a young fellow who's leaving care, whose family all live in Queensland. Now, he doesn't choose to go to live with his family. He's connected in his local community. He's doing some really good work, and he's wanting to go to, his plan is to go to university in his local area. But he does want to connect with them at different times. So that plan has in it the ability for him to go and visit his family and financially support that whilst he's still living in his community and going to university.
We sometimes make assumptions that they are going to make terrible decisions with money. So if we're making an assumption and we're predicting that they might not be making the best choices with money, that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity to help do some work with them about planning for what they're going to do.
And I think that's why it's really critical that when we're talking to our young people from 15 upward, you talk to them about what they actually will be getting when they leave care, and that gives them a sense of starting to plan as well. So they can start to plan around what they might do with that funding, or do with that money when they get it at 18, whether that is that they want to invest it, just giving them some choice around those things before they turn 18.
If you can't talk with the young person themselves, who's the super important people in their life who they do talk to, because they can be a really good source of information about the young person or help to build a bridge to connect with that young person. I think being a little bit innovative too in thinking, how do young people communicate? Maybe sitting in a room with a caseworker is not the funnest thing to do. Using texting or messaging, using apps, different ways to find out what young people like can be a way to do that. I guess when it comes to trying to find some common ground with a young person to even begin that first step of having a conversation, it might mean that being a caseworker, you have to be a little bit vulnerable. You might have to share a bit of yourself.
And I think it really does go back to that genuine need, or that genuine wanting the young person to do well. So that genuine caring for them. If they still, all through that, if they still don't engage, don't not write a plan. Write a plan that says you did all of these things and tried, they haven't engaged. However, they're still entitled to all of these things, and they may be entitled to other things when they're ready to engage.
This group who don't engage before they leave care, it often comes to a head 3 months post.
Yes.
When they've tried family, they've tried living with friends, and it hasn't worked. And I find that's often my real period where I get to do some good work with them. And so that's where I'm lucky in this aftercare role. They come back and they have an awareness now of what turning 18 means. That, yeah.
Tuning in on like dates that we know might be important to them. Maybe it's the date of their birthday, maybe it's a Christmas card. Checking in with them around special dates for them, because those are the times when young people can feel very isolated and alone and disconnected.
Family finding and forever networks has really become a focus of our office, because what we're finding is young people who turn 18 often have almost minimal connection. And in the past, we've always sort of looked at getting families together to ask who can care for this young person. Now we're asking who wants to go to a football game on the weekend with this young person, who wants to pick them up and take them, even though you can't care for them. Who wants to take them for driving lessons when they get their L's? Because, you know, there's always, like, often we've just haven't gone back and looked at the whole family in continuity and seen what supports can be put in place. Who wants to take them to contact with their mum or dad? You know, and I think that's the more natural connections that will be there after they turn 18.
The family finding for me is really about building up those lifelong network, that sense of connection, which you to have that idea about that I belong somewhere. These are my people, and this is where I came from. So the ideas about family finding and connecting young people aren't new things. Like, people have always wanted to have a sense of belonging, and I do think that with the opportunity for 15, 16, 17-year-olds who are looking at leaving care, most of them will be trying to find people in their lives and to find out their stories about their connections to them, why they're not with them, and it's really, really important that they have all the information about their family that we hold.
It's really important that we link them in as early as we possibly can. Where they haven't been linked in, we relook at that. Regardless of what that outcome is, we also need to be thinking with them about what's important to them, that we can link them in with community. So, you know, youth groups or educational spaces or things like that will give them a sense of belonging somewhere.
It could be so many other connections that get missed out when we just draw a genogram. You're finding out bits of life story. You're finding out who was at your 8th birthday party. Who would you like to be at your 18th birthday party? Those are some of the questions that we can use to really help young people connect back to people that they're not talking with at the moment.
And it's really important for all of them, like for those with foster families as well. So they may have a network of foster families, but they will want to know where they came from. It's really important that we help them to identify larger networks, not just those networks. In my experience, education and training, there's a lot of resources out there around for young people around that. You've got the resources of, you know, scholarships. You've got TAFE courses. There are so many things out there for these young people to access if that's what they choose to do. Network with some of the employment resources. Get them on board to provide some opportunities for these young people to be able to succeed and to be able to move through employment and feel like they're making a difference. It develops their self-esteem, it improves their lifestyle, it improves everything emotionally and physically for them.
education, like school, isn't a good fit for everybody. And I think that when we try to fit like round pegs into square holes, we're always going to have some resistance. It's not going to work out. So trying to find out what does work for a young person and what they're really interested in does get some of that buy-in.
Some of our young people don't know what's out there either, so caseworkers really need to understand what's out there, know what's out there, and help them to understand that they have choices, and you know they can pursue whatever their interests are.
Planning around those barriers and those obstacles is super important. If things like transport can be a huge barrier to young people being able to do further study or even get to work. And if we're talking about young people who might have a history with a lot of transport-related fines, things like systemic barriers about how do we get this young person a car? How can we be creative in using their entitlements, the funding that they're entitled to, their allowances, to be able to do something like that. So the development of independent living skills is really the goal about young people being able to go out into the world and being able to look after themselves in lots of different ways. So not just around how they're going to manage their money, but all that basic stuff that you learn along the way about how to keep yourself well, personal hygiene, how do you keep a flat clean, all of those kind of things that become much more important when you're out there solo and doing it yourself. So surviving on 2-minute noodles is one way to do it, but being able to develop a love for food and healthier styles of food, as opposed to living on more like takeaway and junk food kind of things. How do young people learn how to cook spaghetti bolognese? It isn't just inherent, it isn't just a natural instinct. So we need to be thinking about opportunities that help those young people develop those skills that we might just take for granted. And the disposable nature of like modern society when it comes to fixing something when it's broken. When a thing breaks, damn, vacuum cleaner's broken, the house is going to be messy. Like, how do you then navigate a situation like that when you're on such a tight income that maybe you can't afford to get a new vacuum cleaner, or maybe you are not factoring in buying scouring pads in your weekly shop because you're just trying to make ends meet with other things. You're going to factor out the things which are down your list of priorities. So how do you get young people to notice what is important? How is it going to impact on other elements of your life? So continuing to have those conversations and being that person that says, putting those reminders and prompts in can be very, very important.
It's really important to start the transitioning of young people where they have mental health or any health issues from their childhood providers or practitioners or whoever it is that supports them to their adult practitioners. As we know, that it changes, which is quite unfortunate, I always think, for our young people to have to change where they go because they've got a child adolescent mental health and then they go into adult mental health. So planning is critical for that, and having that young person be a participant in that, planning with them for that, so they make the choices about where they might want to go, who they might want to see, what they want the help and support with.
Communicating about sexual health with young people in care is so important. I often find they're searching for attention or somebody who cares, somebody who values them. So they do engage in quite risk-taking behaviour sexually. So again, it's about if you have a good relationship with them and they trust you, that when you raise these issues, it is important and it's out of care. You want them to be safe.
I agree with that, and I think that a lot of young people might be uncomfortable about talking about certain issues, taboo issues such as sexual health and their sexuality, and they may put on a bit of a front, I know all about that, I know all about condoms and that kind of stuff, but when you break it down, Where have they got this information from? Is it accurate, and is it actually going to be helping to keep themselves safe? That is something which we need to be curious about and dig a little deeper, even if it might mean that we get out of our comfort zone.
And look, and I think it's also incredibly important to think about young people, again, don't like people beating around the bush. So it is actually having those difficult conversations. They will appreciate a difficult conversation. They'll appreciate you being, respectful but honest about whatever's going on.